Okay, so thank you and welcome to the unveiling of the AFOMA reward program for Utidia Community Service of the YouthUp Global. If you're joining us from any part of the world, I am directing this live from Lagos, Nigeria, and by my time here, it is 1:12 p.m. And thank you once again for joining. So I'll just go straight to introducing the speakers for today's event. Mr. Eric Oswara is a social entrepreneur and the founder of AFOMA and Salitic. These are two social enterprises that are designed to promote and preserve the art, culture, and the handicraft sectors through the works of artists and artisans across the globe. He has over 2 decades of experience across diverse and emerging technologies that include blockchain technology. Eric also supports humanitarian initiatives through his organization, Azonita, a registered Canadian charity with its purpose for supporting poverty alleviation, quality education, good health, and well-being across sub-Saharan Africa. So if you're there and you heard what I just said, just give thumbs up to Dr. Eric Oswara. He's doing really well. Thank you very much, Dr. Eric. You're welcome to this call. We are very, very delighted to have you. Thank you so much. Thank you. The next speaker, who happens to be the president of YouthUp Global, is Dr. Faith Mwobia. And if you are not very conversant with his personality or what he represents, I'll just give you a little bio or a little brief of who Dr. Faith Mwobia is. He is a seasoned economist, a social entrepreneur, and youth inclusion strategist. He's the founder and president of YouthUp Global, a fast-growing social enterprise in the business of developing human capital, creating social impact opportunities, and building empowerment platforms for youths in developing countries, where it has over 15 countries represented, both in Africa and Asia. Dr. Faith Mwobia is also the managing partner of Telemigrants, a social impact advocacy organization promoting the employment inclusion for underserved communities through teleworking and remote work opportunities. With YouthUp Global, Dr. Faith Mwobia is creating youth-inclusive opportunities through collaborations and social impact initiatives like the Utidia Community Service Network. It is a community that is supporting youths with empowerment programs geared towards addressing the problem of skill gaps and youth unemployment in developing countries. So there you have our host speakers in the house. They are going to be talking to us about this program, the AFOMA reward program for the UCSN. So permit me to quickly introduce Dr. Faith Mwobia to this call as it takes up from here. Dr. Faith, if you can hear me, it's over to you. You are going to be introducing the principal and recognizing the principal officers from both teams. So I will hand over to you now, Doctor, if you can hear me. Dr. Faith?
Yes, just a minute, I'm here.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining this call, just as we wait for Dr. Faith to take up from where I have stopped.
Thank you so much.
Okay, he's back. So welcome,
thank
Doctor.
You. Yes, thank you so much. Esther, the queen, like I call her, she did a lovely work to introduce the host speakers for today's section. So I'll go quickly to, before the next agenda, somebody's raising his hand or her hand, Stella White. Please, wide the hand up. Is it by error or mistake? Okay, you could use the chat box if there is anything you want to comment on. So I'll quickly recognize key principal officers that, not that everybody here doesn't matter, everybody here counts, but I will just quickly recognize key principal officers working with us at YouthUp Global, ensuring that our mandate is achieved. So I'm citing here my people, and I have cited Abraham. Abraham is the country rep for Liberia. And you're welcome to this section, YouthUp Global. I've also cited Ofong Ekomobong, who is also very well represented here by herself. She's the country rep for Nigeria, YouthUp Global. I've also cited Ojo Chide Emoga. She is the program coordinator, Campus Ambassadors Network, YouthUp Global. I've also cited Franca Anyaka. She is the program coordinator and team lead for Women's Forum, YouthUp Women's Forum. I've cited Sriver. She is the country rep, YouthUp Global Kenya.
Dr. Faith, I don't think
from my end.
No, I don't think it's from your end. I think it's from his end.
Oh, Dr. Faith, we lost you there. It's your network or whatever. I don't know, but something is just not correct. You're frozen. We can't hear you anymore. We can't see you. We can't hear you. If you can hear me, if you can hear Mr. Eric Oswara, then please, I don't know, you want to go off the call and come and join?
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh,
back.
okay. Okay, so yes. We have you. Are you there? You go again. Okay.
These things happen from this part of the world. I hope you can hear me clearly, right?
It's not just this part of the world; it's everywhere, doctor. Yeah, we can only deal with them as much as we can. Yes.
Okay, great. That's fine. So as I was trying to quickly introduce the people I see here, the principal officers for YouthUp Global that have joined us today. If I didn't get anyone that use, please pardon me, so that welcome everyone. I see Victor, I see so many people here joining from different parts of the world. You're welcome, and I'm also expecting other people to join. Kingsley. Yes, so back to you, Esther.
Okay, Doc. Thank you so much. So Dr. Eric, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you. But I want to come. I'm not at Dr. Faith's level. I'm not yet a doctor. I'm not sure if I have the. I don't know if I have
Mr. Eric also.
Yeah, I don't think I have the brain power to attain that
permission
level of. That's right. So my humble self will maintain my credentials as it is. But just to keep it short and sweet, I want to thank the YouthUp Global and the Utidia Community Service team for being here. A number of our team members are on it's called the project team members within the AFOMA and Celtic space on the call as well. Michelle Cleaver and Baiju Jacobs, Ebenezer Williams Ajono, and Joel. And Cole is also on here. I think I noticed, I saw Ethan as well. So I just wanted the team to be to come in and support what we are doing today and to listen in. And if there are any questions that the YouthUp Global and the Utidia Community Service team would have for us, we will gladly answer. I'm sure Dr. Faith has some presentation that he would be giving obviously after my intro, and myself will be presenting something very short about other aspects of what our collaboration will be bringing to your community and to other communities overall that that our project is currently aligned to. So we are very pleased to be here, and we want to thank everyone for taking their time to be part of this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Eric Oswara. Thank you for that introduction. So I don't know. So what's other things is AFOMA presenting to the Utidia community? What are we looking at when we talk about this reward program?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
Okay, so Dr. Faith, you want to answer that? So let's enlighten the community.
I'll go first. Yeah.
Okay, please over to you.
Please give me right to share my screen.
You have permissions now to share your screen, Doc.
Okay, so is my screen up?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So welcome everyone once again as we unveil the AFOMA $20,000 grant award to YouthUp Global Utidia Community. That's what we want to unveil today, and then our AFOMA team will also run through some other things that comes with the collaboration. So I'll keep my video off to allow the network to flow. I don't want to be struck out when I'm doing this. So, right. So I want to quickly give a highlight of just a little highlight of what YouthUp does. Of course, most of our community would already have known that, of course, we're a fast-growing social enterprise in the business of developing human capital, creating social impactful opportunities, and providing employment platforms for youth globally, especially in developing countries. So this is what YouthUp Global it's all about. It's all about, we are in the business of human capital development, creating and connecting social impactful opportunities, which is why we are so much into collaborations. And that is why we are collaborating today with AFOMA and other organizations that we are also working with. So all that we are doing is to ensure that we build empowerment platforms. By empowerment platforms, we mean structures that would support young people to become their best versions in order to maximize their full potentials. So that's basically all about us in a nutshell. But then this is about AFOMA, what AFOMA does, who are the partners today that we are discussing our partnership with. AFOMA is a social impact organization leveraging a decentralized approach within an ecosystem designed to offer value creation for arts, culture, handcrafts across the globe. So if you look at this AFOMA and then look at the YouthUp Global side by side, you would see that a whole lot of synergy, similarity of purpose and mandate. Of course, we could come from different angles, we could fire from different cylinders, but the whole idea is to achieve social impact and make here a better place. So that's the whole idea about all that we are set out to do. And that is why our partnership is an interesting one, and it's something that would yield better and amazing results. So on May 30th, YouthUp and AFOMA made a press release on their partnership. The partnership is about a grant award to incentivize YouthUp members under the Utidia Community Service Network, UCSN, in order to empower youth in the developing countries. So with all the discussions that went on the ground, back end talks and emails and all the things that we had with the AFOMA team, at the end of the day, on the 30th of May last month, we came to a point where we informed the public with a press release announcing our partnership. Part of the partnership is that AFOMA is extended their hand of fellowship to support our community with a $20,000 grant, and the whole essence. Please, if you're joining, please mute your mic. The whole essence of the partnership is to incentivize YouthUp Global communities, but then under the Utidia Community Service Network. I would want to briefly say what the Utidia Community Service Network stands for, why we are managing this grant and this partnership under this community. So the Utidia Community Service Network, as we call it, UCSN, is an altruistic and social impact-driven community that seeks to empower youth and the underserved communities in developing countries. So between the youth and underserved, we are working to see that with this community, we touch all the youth and also underserved communities in developing countries through free skill, mentorship, and apprenticeship programs, and as well as other advocacy programs. In this community also, you've seen things like the Utidia Talk Show that we started off this month, and other advocacy programs, awareness programs that are geared towards supporting youth, majorly to address the core 3 goals for which Utidia stands for, which is to address skill gap, to fix youth unemployment, and to provide economic empowerment for youth in developing countries. So this community is the driver of all that mandate within the Utidia objective, global objective for YouthUp Global. Now, this session is not going to take time, so I'm taking it. I'm almost running off with mine, so please follow through. I'm having talks from background. Please mute your mic so that everybody is carried along. Thank you. Utidia Grant Award Distribution. Now, we have an agreement with the AFOMA group, and this part of the partnership with the YouthUp Global and AFOMA is that this 20,000 grants, which is equivalent of 2 million OMA or AFOMA tokens, will be distributed to our YouthUp community under the control of UCSN. So this is the model for which the Utidia Grant Award would, the Utidia grant as granted by AFOMA would be distributed. It will be distributed to YouthUp community members. So this is not a grant for YouthUp to do cash-based projects. No, this is a grant to support and incentivize and reward efforts of utopians of all volunteers and all people that participate in our programs as organized and piloted under the Utidia Community Service Network. So it's still on the grant award distribution. So what it means that by implication going forward, all you top community volunteers, all volunteers within the YouthUp communities are entitled to this reward system. So everybody that is a volunteer within the YouthUp community is entitled to this reward system, which is to access this grant. So across all units, departments, regions, when a volunteer has done exceptional, team leads, heads, coordinators would need to recommend such a person to info@youthupglobal.com. So what we say is that going forward after today, that we are unveiling it, once a team member in your unit has done very well, or your department or your group has done very well, you are obliged to recommend such a person to through the info@youthupglobal.com for the award. The award will be announced. So upon receipt, the community coordinator of UCSN, who recently appointed Mary, would profile the volunteer, the said volunteer, and send to the president for an award offer. So once we receive a nomination from any unit, any department group, that this person has done very well consistently in their task as assigned and have done exceptionally well in duties as assigned, we think that he or she qualifies for to participate in the Utidia grant from AFOMA, that we would recognize such recommendation. What would happen is that the coordinator, the community coordinator of Utidia Community Service Network would profile such a person through some findings around what the person has done to do some verification, because we're going to do some verification to ascertain that truly what is being said is so across the units, across the department. And once that exercise is done, the person is forwarded to the president for an award offer. We are going to announce the award offer of such a person. And once we receive, so once the mail is received, and then the profile has been made and sent to the president for an offer award, for an award offer, the offer will detail all information regarding the conditions of the award. The offer that will be sent to the person, which is part of the 20,000 and 2 million OMA tokens, would have all the conditions for which the person will access the package. There is something that adds to it, is that there is what we call Utidia Social Impact Badge. It's as if I'm echoing.
Yes, there's an echo. There's an echo at the back.
I don't know why. That's what I'm trying to find out. I just started noticing that now.
Okay.
Are you connecting through multiple devices?
No. I've not logged into through my phone. I think it's okay now.
Okay, it's good now. Yes.
It's better.
Is it fine now?
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is. It is.
Hello, confirm that you can hear me.
Hello, Doc. Yes, I can hear you. It's better. Can anyone else hear me? Mr.
Yes,
Eric,
we can hear you. Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Wow. Okay, Doctor, are you back? We lost you for a moment there. Dr. Faith? Okay. Let's just give him a moment to try to sort it network. Yeah. Dr. Faith, are you back?
No, I don't think he is.
It's one of those things. And so when you're talking about the virtual meetings, virtual days, you should be prepared for such things. The glitches is not just from this part of the world, like I tried to tell him earlier, it's everywhere. So I hope he comes back on next.
Let's probably give him like 2 minutes or so. And if he doesn't hop back, then probably I'll just start presenting. And then if whenever he joins, whenever he joins, then he can either finish up or we can take questions then.
And wait. Yes. So we'll just wait for him for 2 more minutes and then.
I think he's back.
Okay, apologies once again, please. That thing that used to happen also happened.
Welcome back, doctor. Welcome.
So, okay, so confirm that you can see my screen, gentlemen and ladies, please.
I can see from my end.
Okay, great. So I'll just go on. So like I did say, let me just do this. So from here, I'm now on. I had to a bit just a slide back. So once the offer is given, the offer carries every other information that you would need in order to access the package, like I did say. But then there's also something that will accompany the offer. At any time an offer award is given or an award is given, we are adding what we call Utidia Social Impact Badge. This badge is something that we would hold daily in order to give it to people that made it, and that is why we're adding it to the award. So that means every volunteer who receives an offer will also receive a Utidia Social Impact Badge. So this is your social proof of your impact to the society. Of course, what it means is that you have done very well as a volunteer with our organization for you to have earned an award, a grant award, and it's also been supported with a social impact badge from Utidia. So this is the kind of thing that you will be expecting going forward immediately after today for people that will be receiving this offer. And what do you need to receive this offer? All that it requires for you to do is what you're doing and doing it well, supporting in ways you can. If you are in graphics, doing it the way you can with all your strength as you have been doing. And if you are in content writing, if any unit you are in, if you're a mentor, if you're a mentee, if you're an advocate, whatever it is that you're doing within the YouthUp community, across the Utidia community, you keep doing all that, and then we're all observing. As we say that your unit head to recommend, we are also going to give space for members of the same team to recommend, but then we'll just have to vet it through the team lead because we want to also ensure that there is that relationship between the team lead and the whole team. So I could also, as it is, look at what you've done and put you in the limelight and pick you up from where you are, and it passes all that. It moves across other protocols, because of course we're all observing how you are contributing in your own space, in supporting humanity, in building through the social impact space. So this is how we are going to roll for the grants that we have given, that we've been awarded. This is not a grant to put in the pocket. This is a grant to support work. This is a grant to support dedication, commitment to serve. This is where you serve more, you do more, you get recognized. So I'm employing and encouraging all of us as we complete this section, even as Eric would also highlight other interesting benefits that our collaboration brings. I will also implore you to stay put while we hear from him. This is me saying thank you, gentlemen and ladies, for coming around, and let's see what the future brings, which is a bright one, because I see a bright future for all of us together. Thank you so much. Back to you, Esther.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you so much for that enlightenment into what this reward program is all about. So it is not a money for the pocket. It is more like IoT, Internet of Things. We see what you do, and then a token is released and a badge is given. That is beautiful. Thank you so much for that. Mr. Eric Oswara, please, can we hear you? Give it to us, bring it on. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Esther. And for some reason, you get to, I don't know, it's very funny. You tend to pronounce my last name very, very well. So kudos to you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so I'm going to start presenting shortly. Give me a second here. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
I can.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so thanks everyone for making out the time again. And thank you, Doc, for your detailed explanation on how the AFOMA tokens will be leveraged within your program. And thank you for pointing out the fact that these tokens are primarily to encourage work, to encourage community service. It is not primarily for the purposes of just giving people money for not contributing. That is not the purpose or vision behind AFOMA. So thank you, and thank you to your team for the continuous work and efforts that you guys are putting in. So I'll just take some time to point out what our table of contents will be. I will be very, very short for the sake of time, because I know a lot of people would have questions that they would want to ask to us, and we'll do our very best to answer those questions. If there are questions that I can't answer on the AFOMA side, I will push that on to some of our team members who can definitely answer those questions. So I will take some time to talk about AFOMA, what AFOMA is, and I'll describe it in short descriptions of what our ecosystem looks like, touch on the gig economy or the informal economy, why we are working within that space. And then I'll touch on some of the additional benefits that our partnership will offer. And then obviously reflect on the social media channels that I would encourage all of you to follow, or so that you can stay in touch with us, and so that you have understanding of what our milestones and what our project looks like, and pretty much staying connected as we all form one community together. And then obviously it will lead to questions and answers. So what is AFOMA? AFOMA is primarily, I see it as an ecosystem, right? That is leveraging a token. We're going to be operating within the blockchain space, obviously, and within the Web 2.0 space. But primarily, we decided we wanted to build a niche to work within the informal economy, where we want to focus on artists and artisans and help them scale beyond their local economy. I'm originally from Nigeria, as most of you know. And one of the things that we tend to see, or I have firsthand experiences, we have significant talent across Africa. But when you go into social media platforms like the Instagrams and Facebooks, you tend to see this model of where these exceptional people are putting out their exceptional products or unique products, but they can't scale. they can't scale beyond their local city, beyond even their country, due to a number of issues. Maybe because there isn't the right platform or technology to enable them to scale, or primarily because they just don't have the capital, or to allow them to do that, or they just don't have the right payment systems, based on the fact that payment systems across Africa and other developing regions are fragmented, right? So that's why we went into that space, to enable these individuals and allow them to scale beyond their local economy. And to allow us to do that, we decided we needed to build an ecosystem that will allow us to have our first the blockchain integrated multi-vendor marketplace, an artisanal marketplace, where people, individuals like yourselves and your community who have artisans or creatives, as some people tend to remind me when it comes to that term, especially in Nigeria, because they said artisans covers a whole range of other individuals. But we're primarily focused on people who do handmade products. We want them to be able to list their products on our marketplace, and we can allow them to scale by allowing our marketplace to be very, very affordable, to allow or give them different methods of payment options, such as cryptocurrency, mobile money. Those are the things we are looking at, because if we are to allow people to be part of that global market, we have to put in the technology and innovations that will allow them to achieve that. Our ecosystem will allow us to operate within the NFT marketplace. Some of you must have heard a lot of noise and everything that's going on around the NFT space. We do not want our artists to be left behind, right? But what we're trying to do is to build something very interesting, primarily focused on the fact that there will be artists who have different collections that they want to put out. So one of the things that we are looking at doing is an artist can put up their painting on our marketplace, and we can allow them to mint that as an NFT, right? And the reasons why we want to do that is, which I'm going to touch on, which is our metaverse, is there to allow them, to give them the capability of either having the experience of tapping into a Web 2.0 space, which is what we have today, and getting them prepared for the future, right? And through NFTs, we are leveraging what they call smart contracts. And I don't want to sound too technical, but it's software programming that I can allow them to retain royalties for their work, right? So you can now put out a painting that you believe has significant value and that has the potential of going big. We want to allow people to, please, can you go on mute, please? Thank you. We want to allow people to have the ability to actually tap into or leverage that technology to gain financial freedom. And because we tend to be very ambitious, we will be going into the metaverse space as well. We have seen the likes of Mark Zuckerberg building out his own metaverse world. But primarily the challenges with such organizations is they are more profit driven and they are not very inclusive. What I mean by that is the platforms do not allow or create the opportunities for developing countries or youth in developing countries to be part of. So our AFOMA is primarily more of a mission-based organization. Our ecosystem is broad, and we intentionally did it that way. And at the end of the day, one of the things we are very we look forward to is being part of contributing towards the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, especially around poverty, primarily creating prosperity. One of the things we will be looking at is eventually, as part of our roadmap, going into a micro financing program, right? Where we can look at micro entrepreneurs who are either artists or artisans, and we can, provide micro financing that they can use to either start their business or to scale their business. And what our ecosystem is primarily to give them the opportunity to start that and then give them the platform to sell. That's where our marketplace comes in, our multi-vendor marketplace. So we can allow them to sell their products, to allow them to scale and have access to that global market, right? And in doing that, we recognize that a lot of you, or a lot of these artisans, if I may use that term, or artists, might not be technologically savvy, And that's where the Utidia Community Service comes in, and the YouthUp Global community comes in, because we want to leverage skills, people who are content writers, who are storytellers, to come in to help them to onboard their products on the marketplace, where they can actually go out and seek or source for artisans who have exceptional skills but just do not know that platform like ours exists out there. So our mission primarily is to enable artists and artisans across Africa and the globe by utilizing the AFOMA token to drive that social impact ecosystem. That is primarily what we are looking at doing. So this is what our ecosystem, our product line would look like. So Cellytic will be our multi-vendor e-commerce marketplace where artists and artisans who are very good with making handmade products can come and list their products on. Oruvan is our NFT space. So I will encourage some of you, I don't want to spend so much time on this, but I will encourage you after this call, please start doing a bit of research into what NFTs are. But this is primarily where you can, if you're talented in just being an artist, even doing digital content, you can now have the ability to earn financial freedom in a decentralized manner. You don't have to depend on organizations who are now actually putting out or curators out there who take a large chunk of your profit, right? That is what we are trying to prevent. That's what the NFTs actually allow you to attain, right? And then that former land will be our metaverse, where we will project Cellytic into that metaverse, where you can now have an immersive experience leveraging virtual reality or extended reality. That is where we are talking about moving to, right? From a technology standpoint. So we want to carry Africa and the other marginalized regions along with us. And that is why we are ambitious and bold enough to say we will be taking this on. Cellytic, we hope should be taking off by about fourth quarter of this year, but we are going to start off with a pilot program, which I will touch on shortly. And then Oruvan, we're probably looking at maybe end of this year or first quarter of next year to take off. And then our former land sometime in 2023 as well. So I want to touch on what the informal economy is. What we see globally right now, inflation is on the rise. I'm not in a position to tell you people, especially in Africa, especially in my home country of Nigeria, how bad it is. We know how bad it is. And right now, there are a lot of youth today who are out of work. And some youth who currently have a place of work still do not have sustainable income, right, to help them maintain their livelihood. That is where the informal or gig economy comes in, right? So we want to create or enhance this economy where youth from Africa, who we know, like today in Africa, for example, we have over 70% of our population there, primarily youth between the age of 19 and probably 35. The formal economy can no longer sustain that economy at all. It cannot. So the goal is to actually allow youth to enhance the informal economy where they can now be part of and contribute, right? So, for example, I think in Nigeria today, the GDP for that the informal economy brings is at least as much as 50-something%. So when we talk about some developing countries today having 80% of their work population participating in the informal economy, that is a realistic fact, right? So we have to start thinking about enhancing the informal economy or the gig economy, because we all know the formal economy is no longer sustainable. In fact, I was speaking with a colleague yesterday, and he was telling me how he is now he's working for Amazon in handling delivery. He wants to be part of that gig economy and the beauty about what the gig economy offers is it gives you flexibility. If you were to take on a part-time role, you still have to be in a structured way, right? Where you have to tell you, oh, you have to work between 2 to 4. But the beauty about what the gig economy offers you is it's very flexible. You can choose when you want to sell. You can choose when you want to work. You can choose when you want to contribute to your community. That's the beauty behind that. And that's why building technology to enhance such business models will definitely go a long way. So why is the gig economy very critical? Well, as I pointed out, inflation is significantly on the rise right now. Lack of employment or the reduction in working hours as well, and inequality. This one I want to touch on primarily. A lot of people have asked me, what is the difference between Celletic, our marketplace, and other marketplaces that are out there? The problem is to drive inequality is a big factor there, right? If you look at the likes of one of the biggest multi-vendor platforms in the world today called Etsy, ETSY, they are I think going to become $1 trillion organization, or at least at the most $1 billion. They are definitely $1 billion organization today, but they are primarily functioning within high-income countries, right? We want to do the difficult thing of bringing things more towards Africa and other developing regions. The fact is that if we don't want to focus on just the consumer market, we want to focus on the non-consumer market. And there are challenges and difficulties of being part of that non-consumer market. But the fact is, our goal is to create markets through regions like in Africa by doing the hard work. So we want to address this inequality aspect by allowing people have a fair access to that global market. So what does our partnership offer? We are going to allow, we're an open platform, but one of the key things is, I know within the Utidia and YouthUp Global community, there will be exceptional people who do handmade products, right? We want you to come and be part of what Celletic will offer, where we can allow you scale your product. You do not need to remain only on Instagram and just be selling your product there. I'll tell you one of the challenges of doing that, because I see that a lot. You're going to put up your product on Instagram, Facebook, and you put up your number, please call me. What's the next thing to happen? I'm Nigerian, I'll explain what's going to happen. I see your product, I like your product, I call you and I say, how much is your product? You tell me, oh, 2,000 Naira. Okay. And then I start going into a bidding war with you. Because you are now desperate and you do not have a large market, you're forced to now go into more of reducing the value of your product just because you want to sell. What we are trying to allow you to do now is to give you access to a global market. So people from the United States, Europe, wherever can have access to your product. You obviously have to do some work as well in doing some sort of your marketing, but now you have some power in your own hands. You can now say, this is my product, this is the link to my product, you can buy it through Celletic. That's all you need to do. Just go on Instagram, put it there, go on Facebook, put it there. And anybody who is interested in buying your product will simply go to the link. They're not going to see anybody to negotiate with. They're just simply going to see your product. It's going to be listed, quoted in US dollars, and someone buys that product and off it goes. And where we come in is to bridge or establish that trust for you, because what we will now do is to reduce barriers of entry and operations, where we can now partner with the likes of DHL to have your product shipped out without you putting down any upfront costs today. I know people who are selling in Nigeria today that have to put up upfront money to allow their products to be shipped. And the question that I have is, if a youth who is probably still in university or who is still looking for a job, and they tell you cost of shipping is 20,000 Naira, how are you going to put that up? That is where we bring value. The other aspect is a micro worker program. There are, as I pointed out, because we are very mission driven, there will be merchants who have no technological skills, who are probably have no access to internet. We want you, your community, to contribute towards our micro worker program. What that means is we will assign small tasks, very small tasks. Either maybe you help them onboard their product, give a proper description of their product. You can go into your community, find out exceptional, unique people who have no access that such platforms exist, and help them on board. So you act more as an agent per se. And then we will incentivize you, where we can assign certain tasks and say, okay, maybe this task is worth 5 cents, or maybe this task is worth $1. And as we incentivize, you, through one of our partners, you can now convert our OMA tokens to become usable money. Whether you're in Kenya, whether you're in Zambia, whether you're in Ghana, you can now change that to either M-Pesa, mobile money, or you can choose to hold our tokens, because there is still value in holding our tokens. Because as the value of the token keeps going up, that you can now start earning passive income as well. Just like the likes of Bitcoin, Binance, and the Binance tokens and the rest that we have across the cryptocurrency space. So this is how you follow us. I will definitely share this with Dr. Faith so that you guys have access to our social media platforms. Feel free to please reach out to us at any time, or you can reach out to me on LinkedIn and any of our team members within the AFOMA or Celtic platform. If you have questions or just how to be part of our community, we'll gladly have you. And I think this is where I will stop for more for any questions and answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Mr. Eric. And we are so, please, if you are unmuted, please mute yourself. There are a lot of background and the noise. Who is talking? Please mute yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Mr. Eric, thank you so much. You know, the beautiful thing about partnerships and collaborations and then affiliations is the fact that great minds with great initiatives and ideas come together and then lift spirits of people around, give hope to the seemingly hopeless, and then they can see just a ray of light just at the end of their tunnels. And that's what this affiliation, this reward program, this collaboration, and in fact, this partnership is doing right now. And I'm feeling it right inside me. It's like a fire burning. Thank you so much. Thank you, Utidia. Thank you, AFOMA. Thank you so much, Dr. Faith and Mr. Eric. Okay. And you know, NFT. Oh my God. Who is this? Who is disturbing me with? Oh dear. Please, can you check yourself and mute? Please, please. Please.
Maybe what I can
Thank you
do
for
is
your
I can
understanding.
maybe we can mute everybody, I guess, and then
yes, mute everyone.
Yeah.
Then I can unmute myself.
Yes, give us a sec. Let's see. You can go on. I will.
Okay, yeah. So, all right. So, thank you for that wonderful presentation of what AFOMA. I'm sure everyone on this call was able to get something. Me especially, the NFTs are so beautiful. So I can just decide to create something out of my culture. I can just decide to design something and somebody somewhere in the metaverse space sees it and I'm earning money from the comfort of my zone. It is so beautiful. And like you said, 70% of the population of the world, in fact, let's not just limit it to Africa. Okay, so it's made up of the youth. And we can't just leave them all lying by themselves, trying to find a way by themselves. So many of them are doing that in the gig economy. So many of them are finding their ways, they're finding their standards. But then when you give them some leverage, when you give them some ray of hope, they are able to have a firm standing, they are able to get direction from the experts like you and Dr. Faith. They are able to see the future from the now. So thank you so much. This is where we are going. This is the future, and it is what it is. So if you have questions, if I can see your hand raised, I will pick you. If you can drop a comment, I will read it out and then we answer the question. Anyone has a question? Any question?
Yeah, I think Shreviel has a question.
Okay, Shreviel. All right, Shreviel, you can. Please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you so much for the presentation. And my question is, suppose an individual, let's say in Kenya, has the skills to design something, a particular good that wants to be sold out to the market. So what is the other requirement for that particular individual to be assisted by AFOMA? Apart from knowing how to design this thing and different marketing skills, are there other requirements for that particular individual to get assisted by AFOMA?
Okay,
Thanks,
Mr. Eric.
Yeah, thank you, Shirley. I think maybe the question might be a bit vague for me when you mean in terms of being assisted. So let me probably add some bit of more clarity. So where AFOMA comes in is primarily where we partner with organizations like the Utidia Community, where if they are part of their community, that level of support or work that is required within their community is incentivized. That's one. If you're not part of any organization and you're purely on your own, where we come in is where if you are an artisan, someone who makes handmade products, nothing stops you. You can, as long as your product is handmade, your product is vetted by the Celtic team and you are approved, you can simply start putting up your product on the Celtic marketplace. That is the vision. We do not want to add any form of barriers or challenges for people to simply put up their product there, right? So if that's where you're coming from, nothing stops you from simply putting out your product on the marketplace. We will take your product. If someone buys your product, we will ship out through one of our logistic partners. I'm not sure if I answered your question. Was that good enough, or you wanted to ask something else for clarity?
No. The question got answered. Thank you so much.
Not a problem. And
Okay.
our mission is we'll be going, we're taking a phased approach in different countries that we're looking at. For example, we most likely will be starting off here in Canada. We'll start off in Nigeria. We want to perfect things, make sure that things are working properly before we then start onboarding other African countries as well. But our micro worker program will be open to pretty much anybody across the globe once it's officially launched, okay? And if you have any additional questions, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, on social media. I'm pretty much active there. Thank you. And I think Victor had a question, so I think I'll unmute you.
Okay, Victor, let's have your question. Victor Chooks. We can't hear you, Victor. If you can unmute from your end, please do. We can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah, we can.
Hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Can you hear me? Okay,
yes, I can. Please go on with your question.
Thanks for the,
yes.
Okay, thanks for the presentation. So my question is regarding what you talked about with the AFOMA platform. I remember some time ago, I interfaced with some set of artists and, creative artists who make stuff with their hands, and here in Lagos. And part of the conversation I had with them was, some of these people are elderly people who are really not techie. So they may not understand how to leverage internet and what you have going on here, but they're willing to have some sort of collaboration or maybe work with someone who can get the product out there. So they allowed me to have their contact, even take photos of a lot of their works. And they agreed that, okay, we could be doing this on a collaborative basis where I push the product and then whatever comes in, I could give them their own and take my part. So my question is, do you have arrangement for third-party sellers on your platform? And that's bearing in mind that when it comes to the work of art, protecting the creator's right is also important in many cases. So what's the arrangement with third-party sellers and not infringing on the right of any artist and all that?
That's a very, very good question, Victor. Thanks for asking that. Yes, and one of the things that we are looking at is setting arrangements like this, primarily around even like NGOs, because there are people, elderly people, artisans, as you said, who are artists who lack this ability, right? So we're looking at collaboration with third parties like NGOs or not-for-profit organizations that can act as that intermediary on their behalf, right? And obviously as NGOs, based on whatever strategy or structure that they have on their end, that's really primarily up to them. The one thing though that we want to definitely push is the decentralized approach of the marketplace. Why? Because primarily I would want where, for example, in your case, if you're actually representing these artisans, I would want you to have a way where you're onboarding them on an individual basis. The reasons why is we want them to, as you said, we want their rights to be pushed, right? And in that case, because even part of the AFOMA Celtic program is as artisans sell their products, they're earning tokens as well, right? They're earning tokens based on good business practices, right? So depending on where the NGOs come in, that's where primarily we're more aligned to. However, if in your case, you want to be an intermediary seller, there might be an option where for you, maybe you can say, okay, I'm buying these goods from them, right? And then I am now a seller on that platform. And then that's now up to how you want to do it. Primarily, as long as because a lot of people can take that same structure and we don't know what's happening in the back end. But primarily, we want to drive that whole decentralized approach as well. So we recognize the fact that there might be a lot of people who are not technology savvy. And that's why we're looking for people who can actually bridge that gap for them and help them on board, right? So we want to work with people who actually look at these artists, these artisans, help them on board, and then we can actually enable them to sell, right? The question is, can they continue doing that on their own, or they have to leverage the likes of yourself or other people to actually help them to achieve that, right? But regardless of whatever the structure is, we want to definitely find a way to ensure that that situations or arrangements like what you're talking about is addressed, so that we can actually engage some of these people that do not lack that ability.
Okay, that's clear.
Thank you.
So, okay.
Thank you.
So thank you, Victor Chus, for the question. Thank you, Mr. Eric. I'm not seeing any other hand raised.
But then
I don't know.
I'm thinking about something based on what Victor had asked. So
Okay.
I'm looking at the micro worker that you mentioned, which is part of the component of the program. So where you have a micro worker, the person can actually be assigned as the manager of that artist or that artisan or that creator. So it's not just to onboard. It's actually, you could do beyond just onboarding. It could actually be a manager. So there could be other discussions back end, but let's have a face that we know that, okay, understand the techie part of it, but then we know that we have onboarded the right person to the platform that have that intellectual property, so to say, or that creative property. Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking. Yes, that's what I'm thinking, that part of perhaps other things that AFOMA would incorporate. There should be a sort of a manager kind of template, not just on board, that micro workers can also work as managers of these artisans. Maybe there could be that as you incentivize, you're also incentivizing based on their contribution. Yeah. Yeah.
And just to touch on that, that's exactly what we mean. Like, so you can come in as a manager for these individuals, right? But but our mission is where we are incentivizing the micro worker themselves, right? Not primarily where these managers are asking for money from these artisans. That's not what we want. We want you to be, that's why I emphasize on NGOs, because it's more of a credible area for us to work with than having a company come in and say, oh, we're going to do this. We rather have you come to come in as an NGO, an accredited NGO,
a community,
right?
yeah, a
or
community,
under
yeah,
a community that we can actually vet, that you are actually definitely in trying to help the artisan itself, not to actually cheat them at the end of the day.
For instance, once the micro worker program opens up, the Utidia community members within the YouthUp ecosystem would, of course, join in the micro worker program, because we have a whole lot of talent in our community that will be supporting this talent. So I think that's part of the discussions in terms of the reward and the packages within the partnership we're discussing. Yeah. So Victor, it's something that you would do through the Utidia community once it starts running. So we'll define how each person would participate in that contract. Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. So Victor, I want to get an affirmation from you. Do you understand what Mr. Eric and Dr. Faith has explained?
Yes.
Do you understand what they have
explained?
You understand what they have explained? If you understand them, please follow that process. Reach out to Dr. Faith.
Yes,
I'm sure he's going to help put you through. So they have done justice to that. Thank
you very much. I think Franca has a question.
Franca has her hand up.
Okay, Franca. Why am I not seeing it here? Okay, Franca. Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Right.
Am I loud and clear? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Franca.
I can hear you.
We can.
I can hear you, Franca.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for the presentation, Mr. AFOMA. And this question is directed to Dr. Faith, YouthUp Global and Utidia Community. As regard follow-up and all that you've said so far, I believe with the workshop we did recently with capacity building, I would like Dr. Faith to have a workshop with AFOMA and talking about is it NFTs? Yes, and lecturers.
NFT, yes, brilliant.
Yes, because all these are new, and I've just been here thinking maybe you guys are in another planet speaking a lot of different new things. I don't know what's going on. Well, I enjoy that. Okay. It's something new and something I would like to learn. So I believe Dr. Faith would come and teach us what's going on, because I am totally not here. But it's good. It's a good stuff. Thank you so much.
Yes, Franca. Esther, you want to respond? You can go ahead.
Doctor, yeah, that is a brilliant, it's very brilliant, because most people don't understand how these things work, right? These are non-fundable, what do you call them? Mr. Eric, help me here. I know what NFT
they are called
for the benefit of those.
Non-fungible tokens, yes, non-fungible tokens.
Thank you, non-fungible tokens. Yes. I know.
You're close to the door. You're not far from the kingdom.
Yes. So just like Franca and Yokai now, so many people they know, they hear, but they may not really have a grasp on what these things are, how they work, what they stand to benefit. So I think it's a brilliant suggestion from Franca there. So Doc, start thinking about it. That's an assignment that Franca has given to you there. So
thank you, ladies.
Yeah, we would gladly host one, and Baiju, who is leading one of our core project members, he's actually leading our blockchain ecosystem. And if you guys want to have one of those sessions, we would gladly have Baiju come in and host one of those sessions and explain what NFTs are and how that would primarily work within the AFOMA ecosystem. So Doc, whenever you're ready, just let us know and we will gladly have one. Okay.
Yeah, okay. I would be happy to do so.
Open invitation. Baju, I can cite you. Thank you. Open invitation. So we are going to make it happen. Thank you, guys. Yeah.
I think Wisdom has a question.
Okay, Wisdom. What's your question? Is it a chat or you're raising your, okay, Wisdom, is it? Okay, let me just quickly, before Wisdom goes on, let me just quickly read out. Oh, sorry, Wisdom. Quickly, let me just quickly read out what Abraham has said to everyone. He says, thank you. I believe the collaboration between the two social impact organizations stands as a great achievement in the social context. Regarding selective marketplace, I think YouthUp can increase awareness of this because a lot of the target group might not be in the know-how to globally market their products. So I recommend increasing awareness. Beautiful there. Thank you so much. So Wisdom, thank you. Thank you, Abraham. Wisdom, you can carry on with your question. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Okay, please, I would like to confirm if you can hear me, please.
Yes, we can hear you, Wisdom.
Good afternoon. Okay,
yeah, good afternoon, sir.
I can.
All right. Okay, yes, thank you, sir, for the presentation from AFOMA and of course, Dr. Faith. I would like to ask because I happened to come across NFTs as at early this year. So as a result of that, I am into graphics. So since then, I decided to start my own project as my NFT project. So, but I've been actually working on it. So I'm still trying to get more knowledge about it. So I've been actually doing my own research. I've been going deep, and I just uploaded one NFT on one of the NFT markets. There are different NFT markets like OpenSea, Rarible, and the like. So I happen to upload one of them on OpenSea. But I want to understand AFOMA. My first question is what's actually it's actually different between AFOMA and the likes of other NFT markets. And secondly, what's the plan for the DAO? Because you know some of these NFT projects, they actually give their own let's say a community the power to actually share their own opinions. Because from what I know, the DAOs are more like the decentralized autonomous organizations. So I'd like to know what's the plan for that from the side of AFOMA. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Wisdom. That's a very good question. So from what makes us unique is primarily we want our marketplace to have a purpose. And what I mean by that is on Oruvan, our NFT marketplace, we want to actually work with youth across the globe that are pushing their culture. In the likes of OpenSea, they are pretty much open to everything. And we don't want to do that. I think we want to focus on African youth, youth in Southeast Asia that are primarily more around promoting their culture. Like Esther pointed out something that struck with me where she said, I can project my culture. I am an Igbo boy and we are very rich in culture, right? I have not seen an NFT today, unless maybe somebody can help me here, but I have not seen an NFT today, even from our youth across Africa, that are using it to project their culture. Instead, we're following a trend that what we see other marketplaces or other artists are doing because they want to attract celebrities. We shouldn't adopt that same methodology or mentality. We need to look inside ourselves and say, what can I use my NFT to do? And also help me attain financial freedom. So we want to create a niche within that huge space. Use the NFTs to project your culture. For example, I keep talking about our masquerade festival. Nobody has actually created an NFT of a masquerade, right? Or a lot of other traditional dancers. Why haven't we created things like that? Baiji is from I think from India. These are the things that we're trying to project where we want youth to actually leverage their culture and push it as NFTs, right? And regarding DAO, That is the beauty about first, when we talk about selective, when we say decentralized, that is primarily what we're trying to attain. To take up a DAO, first of all, I think that context is not primarily used well. It is difficult to attain to become a DAO in regions like in Africa, because when you're running a DAO, everything is run by software, right? But I think I know where you're heading to. I think your point is where we are allowing our token to allow people to have a voice, to actually be part of the governance, and that is what we will do the minute our token. Once you start earning tokens, you are part of that AFOMA community through YouthUp Global, through Utidia, as you're earning these tokens. So when you complete a task within the Utidia community and you earn those tokens, remember a few minutes ago I said we will encourage you to hold than to even sell, right? If you hold, you attain a certain amount of token value or token amount, you become part of that governance, right? So that now adds you into that, what we call, and I'm putting my fingers in the air, that DAO structure. But to become a DAO, it's going to still take us years, because a lot of people in Africa are still calling crypto a scam, right? So we are not there yet. We're not there yet, but what I can assure you is that as you earn our tokens, you become part of that community, and you have you become part of that governance. And that is the beauty of why we will be, first of all, that makes our marketplace Celtic to be different from the other marketplaces that sell handicraft products today. I hope I was able to answer your question. And anything around NFTs, as I pointed out, Baiju would gladly. Baiju is one of the pioneers here in Canada that started the training around Hyperledger framework in Canada, right? So he is very, very knowledgeable within that space. So we would gladly have another call where he can now do some training, or not training, but more of creating an insight into more NFT, so that all of you can be more informed and know how to leverage that technology. Baiji, I don't know if you wanted to add to what I just talked about from an NFT standpoint.
Sure. Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Baiju.
So absolutely, see, some of the things which we are talking about is purely around digitizing art. So NFTs, like Eric mentioned, non-fungible tokens. It is actually a proof of ownership, and wherein that proof of ownership, you can also include your royalties into that proof of ownership, so that whenever that ownership gets transferred, you continue to get recurring revenue. But NFTs can be used for a lot of other things, not just Bored Ape collections, but for a lot of other things, not even just art. It can be used for music. It can be used as membership cards. It can be used for gift cards. So there are tons of applications on NFTs, and probably it requires much more time than a few minutes to explain that. But it is a technology which is developing. Even though it is primarily used for collectibles right now, it could be way more than that. Because I just saw something called, I think the name is superrare.com or something, wherein they are selling Michael Jordan shoes. They take an image of the shoe which is connected to the original shoes or the which he wore, and they are selling it. So there is also linkage coming from NFTs to real world objects. I saw a Rolex watch, which was like 1953 Rolex watch, and an NFT of that, and which is connected to that particular item. So there are a lot of applications with NFTs. Obviously, in Uruvan, we are trying to promote more on the artist side, but there could be a lot more on the Celtic side too, where physical objects could be also linked to NFTs.
Thank you, Baiji. Esther, I think Wisdom, I'm hoping we were able to answer your question.
Yes, sir, you did justice to that. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. So thank you. Can anyone hear me? Hello, Eric.
Yeah, we can.
That's okay.
Yeah, we can hear. We can hear you now. We lost you a few seconds ago, but we can hear you now.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. So, Mr. Eric, you mentioned something. I would really love to portray our culture using the NFTs. I tell you, and like you rightly said, there is nothing in the NFTs representing us at all, and I would really love it. So, the earlier we start planning for the training organized by Utidia and AFOMA to teach us on all these things, and I want to learn how to create and craft my culture with NFT. I'm serious about this now. Okay, so let me just quickly take this question from Abraham. Abraham is asking, he said, AFOMA talks about its limitation to very few countries. I want to know what in AFOMA, Abraham, I want to know what in AFOMA, if AFOMA minds to extend across Africa, like Liberia and others. So Eric, you want to answer, because I remember you were talking about it starting from Canada, then extending to Nigeria first. So Abraham is wanting to know if it can come to Liberia and some other countries, African countries.
To answer your question, Abraham, we would love to. We will cover. My vision is to cover the entire Africa if possible. But these things will obviously take time. But to answer your question, we would love to be in Liberia, 100%. The vision is to be global, right? But for us to get there, it would take time because we have to map out our logistics plans and all whatnot. But yes, we want to be in Liberia, we want to be in Ghana, we want to be in Kenya, we will be in South Africa, we'll be in Mauritius. So that is the plan. We want to bring Africa to the world. We want to bring the Caribbean to the world. We want to bring in Southeast Asia to the world. And I think our colleague, Michelle, might want to say a few things there. Michelle, go ahead. Let me unmute you, I believe. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, good morning from Canada. I was just more wanting to elaborate on that, Eric, because the way I understood Abraham's question was, and maybe just for confusion aspects, is that AFOMA is global, but Seletic right now is confined by region. Is that correct in the assumption? So yes, we are starting Seletic in Canada and in Nigeria, but AFOMA can be earned anywhere across Africa. Is that not the case?
Yes, you're actually correct. So thank you for that, Michelle. The question, Abraham, I think we're looking at more to the artisanal side. Correct? If that's correct, just do a thumbs up. So the artisans, right? That's more of your question.
Abraham, is that where your question is coming from? More of the artisan?
Is it the artisan or more on the blockchain side of things?
Artist.
So let me, just for the sake of time, if it's from the artisanal, side of things, yes, the question, as Michelle pointed out, we are going on a more of a regional phased approach, right? That is the approach we're going to take. We will go phase by phase, and we'll be making those announcements as we go. Seletic, which is the NFT, which is the artisanal marketplace, we're starting off in Canada, and we'll start off in Nigeria, and most likely we'll start off in Mauritius or other regions across Africa. But our goal is to attain, to get into all of those countries. If it's from, if you're looking at things from an AFOMA standpoint, AFOMA will be global on day one. Day one. If you're in Liberia, if you're in Ghana, if you're in South Africa, if you're in Mauritius, you can be part of what AFOMA is doing from an NFT standpoint, and when we eventually launch our metaverse as well. Thank you, Michelle.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sure. Yeah.
There's Mary wanted to ask a question. I think.
Let me see. Somebody has said something on here, and
that's
Ibrahim.
Ibrahim, yes, correct.
Yes, so he has said something. He said, "Good afternoon, everyone. Actually, I have seen some artists who are actually working on projecting our culture. I have a follower who has minted NFTs discussing tribal marks, which is our common culture. I have a friend who has actually done NFTs on masquerading, and someone who recently minted images portraying the Nigerian fashion in the 60s. Wow, that's beautiful. I've not seen that. Yeah. But if you have all that going on, then that is beautiful. So those are part of our culture, correct? I also have NFTs on OpenSea, more of a social awareness, talking about kids who struggle to survive daily. However, I must agree with you that more of cultural awareness could be done in the NFT space. Nigeria and Africa large are endowed with culture, and I'm glad AFOMA is bringing this to awareness. Thank you. And just before you continue, Eric, thank you, Ibrahim Ileguno. I hope I'm getting that correctly. And just before you continue, Eric, I would like to say something when you're talking about AFOMA being global. I know that Utidia, now that you're in partnership with Utidia Community Service Network, and then YouthUp Global, as it were, the parents ahead. I know that we are represented in 15 countries, both in Africa and in Asia. So that is a kind of a platform, right? So once you are decided and you want to start rolling, it becomes easier to start spreading along that route that the YouthUp Global has created since you're in partnership. Am I correct to say that?
Sorry, Esther, I missed that question briefly. Can you repeat that? Sorry.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was trying to make a comment concerning what Abraham said and what you and Michelle have contributed in terms of spreading, right? You're going to take off from Canada, extend it to Nigeria, Mauritius, and then some other countries. And I'm saying that YouthUp Global, which is the mother arm for Utidia, is already spread across 15 African countries and the Asia. So you want to, so you can just ride on it since you are in affiliation and partnership with YouthUp Global. So it's already in place. It's working. The platform is there. So Abraham, don't worry. It will get to you soon before you know it. Thank you very much. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
So is anybody raising their hands again? So we just take it up from there. I'm not seeing any hand.
No, there is
Mary. The rains are pouring down. The heavens are opened onto us here. It's raining heavily. So freezing, I'm coming back. And all that. Okay, so if you have a question, unmute and let's hear you. Thank you so much.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Sorry I came a bit late. The question I want to ask as regards the grant award, I want to know if AFOMA has its own token. If they have their own token, that's what I just want to know, because I know that you could get your rewards in token. So we know we have popular tokens that we all know about. So I want to know if AFOMA has its own personal token. So that's my question.
Thank you, Mary. Yes, you definitely did come in a bit late, and definitely we can see why you're asking this question. So the grant program is primarily around the AFOMA token itself. That is AFOMA's utility token, our native token. So our partnership is where we are allocating 2 million tokens, 2 million AFOMA or OMA tokens to the Utidia Community Service to drive their own program, right? So as you continue work within the Utidia Community Service under YouthUp Global, you will be incentivizing tokens, which is the OMA tokens, all right? There are other partners that we have with AFOMA today that they have their own programs as well, and they are using the AFOMA token to drive their own programs, and they are incentivized as well. Even Celitic, as a partner of AFOMA, you can also earn tokens on our marketplace as you sell products, right? So that's how it primarily works. So yes, to answer your question, we do have our native token, and that's what is primarily used under the Utidia Community Service.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time. We're almost 2 hours gone. And you know, it's as if we were only just starting. It's beautiful. So when you have such all-inclusive events going on like this, it's as if it's never ending. So thank you, Mr. Eric Oswara, for that very insightful and educating presentation. And thank you for answering the questions beautifully. We are most grateful. Dr. Faith Morbia, if you are still on this call, I would like to have your input before I bring this meeting to a close.
Yes, all I would say is a big thank you to the AFOMA team fully represented here. Thank you, Belju. Thank you, Kilba, and the host Elton, and the host of other AFOMA community that joined in this section. Thank you, every one of you from the YouthUp Global, Utidia Community. And yes, so we're going to be having this NFT training, exposure, awareness, whatever you want to call it, section soon. And that would happen very soon. So as I did present at the beginning about how to access the grant and how to access the AFOMA tokens linked to the grant that we have from AFOMA. That is how the process will flow, and communications will continue through our internal communication platforms for all YouthUp members and all Utopians to participate and to get rewarded, to join the reward system that we now have with AFOMA through the grant. So from me, I'm saying also thank you to Esther for an amazing work that you've done to anchor this program. You deserve it. In fact, this man is already, Eric is already doing my work now. He's already clapping for you. I wanted to say you deserve a round and an awesome, so he even started doing it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you from my heart to you. Please keep
thank
it
you,
rolling.
Doctor.
Yeah, keep it rolling.
Thank you.
So thank you each and every one of you that stayed put. It's almost 2 hours, like she said. From me, you could continue to end in this section. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. Mr. Eric, any final word?
No, I think Doc has said it all. I want to thank the audience and the everyone that came on board. I think at some point I noticed about close to 30 participants came in, and I understand that a number of us have already dropped off. But so thank you to Dr. Faith and Esther. Thank you for the amazing work that you did today anchoring this. I think the next session we'll pass on the job onto you to just manage from there on.
Imagine. Thank you. Thank you so much.
But please, thanks everyone for being on here. I think Doc wanted me to take a picture or something. So I don't know if I'm sure a lot of people don't have their cameras on, but I can gladly take a shot or something.
Just go ahead. Just go ahead the way it is. Go ahead the way.
Okay.
Just go ahead the way it is. My camera is on.
Okay, so I will hopefully. I'm getting a lot of people sending in text messages, so I'm gonna.
Yes, thank you.
So let me see if I can. Okay, more messages are coming in. So can you pause on your?
Yeah, thank you.
Text? Yes. So let's just. I want to see if I can capture something real quick here. Okay, I hope I'm going to take one more just in case. Just give me one more, please. for some people who want to smile again and get it right, so I will gladly. Just give me a second. Okay, you can all start smiling now.
Thank you, Mr. Eric. It's really, the heavens are open unto me here. So
all right, perfect. Okay, so I will
my video is
I will get it out.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Faith, for this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Eric, for honoring us and then seeing us so worthy of this partnership. We are really grateful. Thank you, everyone on the call. We can do this next time. Thank you and have a pleasant weekend. Thank you so much. Esther signing out.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.